What is the Mercedes-Benz brand most synonymous with? Luxury, right? If you're looking for a car that is upscale, refined, high quality, and has a striking road presence, typically Mercedes-Benz would be at the top of your list. But today in the 2020s, a lot of German manufacturers and European manufacturers are going in the direction of being dynamic and sporty. And that's where the Mercedes-Benz C300 always fell behind. Before this new generation that has been out for a couple of years now, Mercedes-Benz is changing the tone of this car. Yes, it's still luxurious, but it can also be fun as well. And in today's video, we're going to take a quick look at the 2025 Mercedes-Benz C300. Check out what this car is offering in this somewhat oversaturated market, because it does go against BMW, Audi, Alfa Romeo, and Genesis. But is the Mercedes-Benz C300 still the best in this market if you are somebody looking for an upscale car at around $50,000? Well, today we're going to find out. Before we get into this video, I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to Mercedes Benz of Burlington in Burlington, Massachusetts for letting me come down here to check out the new C300. Their link will be in the description below, so you can check out their extensive Mercedes-Benz inventory. So as always, let's begin with pricing. For 2025 with the C300, you're looking at a starting cost of right around $50,000. It's a bit more pricey than the Audi A4 and BMW 3 Series, but keep in mind, with the C-Class, it is in a bit more of a unique position because one generation ago, you had the A-Class and CLA. So Mercedes-Benz had to give this car more upscale qualities and refinement that's not typically found out of a compact luxury sedan. Now, on top of that, you also have different trim levels to choose from, such as the Exclusive and Pinnacle, giving you some added amenities, creature comforts, and technology that you might want out of a car under $60,000. Now, our model is equipped with the AMG line package, which doubles down on this car's sportier nature for 2025. Because in the past with the C-Class, it was not the most enjoyable or engaging. You would say it was sedated. For 2025, not so much, because what you have here now is some new mechanical components, not only to the revised chassis, but also the revised powertrain, transmission, and you also got a mild hybrid system. We'll talk about all this later on in the video once you take out the C300 on a test drive. But design-wise, though, this car looks so much better than its predecessor, even though it does build off of that styling and dimensions. So up front, you are going to notice the full LED headlights for an upscale appearance. But for me, though, my eyes are drawn onto the striking body lines on the hood for that sportier appearance. And to me, from far away, this car kind of looks like the C43. Some buyers won't like that, but I personally do, even though some people who are looking for a C43, they want those exclusive styling elements. But I think for this generation, I think everyone can be happy across the board. Now, with the AMG line package, you'll have a honeycomb mesh grille here, which I think really complements this car's design and looks. And then for the lower portion of the front bumper, you will have functional side air curtains for better airflow and aerodynamics. Then as you make your way over to the side profile, this is where you truly see the AMG line package on full display. So our model is sitting on 18-inch 5-spoke AMG wheels with some gloss black trim, so it gives you a nice two-tone look for that wheel package. You're also going to have gloss black side mirror caps with turn signal indicators. They're power folding, and better yet, you will have blind spot detection for added safety. Also with the AMG line package, you trim down on those chrome accents, so you will have gloss black trim around the windows for a lower profile appearance. Then as you make your way around to the back, I really do like the taillights that wrap around the rear fascia. It gives you a nice classy appearance for this car. It kind of looks like an E-Class or an older E-Class, which I think definitely helps out with this car's placement in the lineup. Now, nothing is going to be too noteworthy here for the rear fascia. Obviously, this is just a C300, so not a C43 or a C63. But I do like the chrome finishers for the dual exhaust here. Very nice touch. And then also, that is going to be flanked by gloss black trim. So you have some of that gloss black elements make its way into this car. And lastly, a subtle deck lid spoiler on the trunk, again, ties everything together to this sedan. Hopping inside the Mercedes-Benz C300 we have today, we're greeted by power adjustable and heated MB-Tech sports seats for both the driver and passenger, since our model is equipped with the AMG line package. You're receiving quite a lot with that one package. Sure, we don't have an Exclusive or Pinnacle today, but I feel like I'm getting my money's worth at around $50,000 with this sedan. Now, with these seats, they're aggressively bolstered, they're supportive, they're comfortable. I think this is the way to go, because if you're looking for a luxury sedan that also is somewhat sporty and enjoyable to drive, these seats will complement that driving experience. But with the AMG line package, you get more than just the sport seats. You also receive the MB-Tex material on the dashboard and door panels, further elevating the driving environment. And on top of that, you also get a leather-wrapped steering wheel, a sport leather-wrapped steering wheel at that, with aggressive 10-2 and 9-3 positions. Now, you can't upgrade the leather upholstery, but what Mercedes-Benz is doing with their MB-Tex material, they have come a long way over the last few generations. So I don't think you'll be missing out if you don't opt for those leather seats. The MB-Tex material does feel rather plush and upscale. Now, a lot of you are going to disagree with me on this, but I feel like this car does feel like a $60,000 or $70,000 sedan. And you'll be like, Mike, what are you talking about? You've completely lost your mind. But for a lot of luxury compact sedans, they're not going to be as upscale. They're not going to be as high quality. But with the MB-Tex material, I feel as though I'm getting a car that feels like a baby S-Class. And we see that with the technology as well. And I think more importantly, for this model year and this generation, the technology has to be on point. That's what's driving this market forward, especially against its closest rivals from BMW and Audi. So in front of you will be a full digital gauge cluster. And just like we saw last generation, you can customize this screen to your liking with different layouts such as Sport, Classic, Navigation, Assist, and Service. Now, we do not have navigation equipped on our model since this isn't an exclusive or pinnacle trim. So you might want to go with that and get that navigation system if you don't want to use Google Maps or Waze. With the Classic layout, though, you can scroll through a variety of information and display information that is relevant to you, such as fuel economy statistics, remaining fuel range. And then, of course, with your service layout, you can check out your tire pressure monitoring system and when to get your oil changed. Now, just like we saw last year and for earlier generations, you are going to have touch-sensitive icons on the steering wheel for both the digital gauge cluster and infotainment system. Now, I know some people don't really like that for their vehicles because they want to have the traditional physical button feel, but they don't lag and they are very responsive, so user-friendly for sure. Before we check out the infotainment system, what I also love too with the C300 is the aluminum paddle shifters. That goes a long way. Not a lot of manufacturers give you high-quality paddles like that. Taking a look at the user interface, though, you are going to receive an 11.9-inch touchscreen with wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto compatibility. We also have a Burmester speaker system, which should be more than enough. You can upgrade to the 3D surround system if you so desire, but I think this is more than adequate for sure for a vehicle at around $50,000. Now, I will say, though, if you do own an older Mercedes-Benz C300, this will require a bit of a learning curve, and you might want to take a few minutes getting acclimated with this screen, because last generation, you had a conjoined screen for your digital gauge cluster and infotainment system, and with that, you had physical buttons for your dual zone climate control. Not anymore. All your climate control buttons will be found at the bottom of the screen, and there will be a menu layout for that as well. So we're seeing a lot more of that in the automotive industry, regardless of price point and class. So definitely take it easy the first time you hop inside the C300. I will say, though, that with this tablet-like touchscreen, it should feel natural to use if you are a younger buyer. You're a millennial, maybe an older Gen Z. You're going to like the fact that it feels like an iPad or an iPhone, and it's laid out like that. You're going to have your widgets here, and I do like the fact that they've trimmed down on the menus a bit. Sure, it's still there, but it's not as cluttered or as confusing. So you can easily access your comfort settings for your seat kinetics and ambient lighting. Also, your vehicle information. You can also display your boost gauge from here too. Pretty cool stuff. Also, of course, you have your vehicle settings, vehicle safety systems. All of that can be displayed from the screen. You can scroll through that at your own discretion. At the bottom of the screen will be your drive mode selector for Eco, Comfort, Sport, Sport Plus, and Individual. Since our model has the AMG line package, we have a sports tuned suspension, so Sport and Sport Plus will be far more meaningful with our model today compared to a base C300. You can also access your park assist features and camera views. Now, we do not have a top view camera or 360-degree view, so you might want to go with the pinnacle trim for that. Also, from this button layout, you can lower the volume to your liking or raise it. So you at least have that here. So not everything is touch sensitive or just based on the infotainment system. Then for the center console, one thing I really do like about the C300's layout is the fact that you can conceal the two cup holders, two USB-C inputs, wireless phone charging pad, and cubby for your key fob. And better yet, no gloss black trim. So this will be easier to clean and probably easier to maintain throughout the years of ownership. Then for the standard storage compartment, you will find enough room for a couple wallets or smartphones, and you'll find an additional USB-C outlet. And then to wrap up the front seating area of our C300, above will be a panoramic moonroof, which will bring in a lot of natural light to the interior. Then for passengers in the back, they're going to receive right around 36 inches of legroom. That is not class leading, it's not the best in this market, but does fall in line with other cars in this price range. If you are looking for a more family-friendly sedan out of Mercedes-Benz, you're going to want to go with the new E-Class. That is very spacious for the interior, but also more practical for the cargo area, as we're going to find out later on in this video. But one thing I am impressed by with the C300 is that you do have a higher roofline. So with that elevated roofline, I don't think taller passengers will be hitting their head on the headliner, which is really all I could ask for out of a car like this. Although I think that for a lot of you, if you are looking at buying a car that is more accommodating, you're going to want to go with the GLC at the very least. But with the C300, I think it's definitely spacious enough to have average size adults sit back here on a daily basis. Now, for those of you who are wondering if you can squeeze in a third person in the center, absolutely not with the aggressive center hump. And that's par for the course in this market. You're not going to be able to squeeze in a third person. So like I said before, you're going to want to go with that E-Class or GLC. This is not going to be the choice for you if you do want to have 5 people overall in your vehicle. And then to wrap up the second row seating area, you do get 2 center mounted air vents, but no heated outboard seats, no USB-C or USB-A outlet, but you do receive a center armrest. With the C300, you are going to receive a power trunk. And that's not the only amenity for this cargo area. So behind the second row seats, you are going to receive right around 12.5 cubic feet of room, which does fall in line with its closest rivals, but is better than the Alfa Romeo Giulia and Genesis G70. I was able to fit all my camera gear today, no problem. So I have 3 bags of camera gear, a gimbal box, and a tripod, and there's more room to stack on more items as well. So I think if you are going on a road trip with a significant other or some family members, you can easily store 6, 7, possibly 8 bags of luggage back here with little issues. But matching the power trunk, you do get quick release levers on both sides of the cargo area to conveniently lower the second row seats. Not a lot of manufacturers give you that out of a sedan. Typically, these are only reserved for sportback, such as an Audi A5 or BMW 4 Series, and then of course crossovers. But to have that with the C-Class, I think that does go a long way. It's a nice small touch, because if you do have a lot of items you want to store in the back of your vehicle, you don't have to be inconvenienced having to manually lower those second row seats. To me, I really like that. Then beneath the floor mat, you will have another storage compartment for some maybe valuable items, such as a couple laptops, iPads, or just anything else you don't want people peeking in and stealing when you leave this car unattended for a while. But with that, you are not going to have a spare tire, so keep that in mind. And lastly, for 2025, you are going to receive a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine, producing 255 horsepower and 295 pound-feet of torque, and it is paired with a 9-speed automatic transmission. There's 2 mechanical components to this generation that has elevated the C300 in its segment. One being that retuned 9-speed automatic, which has definitely changed the driving experience for this car, because in the past, the 9-speed was a bit sloppy, it wasn't the most responsive, and I felt it was not competitive with the ZF 8-speed in the BMW 3 Series or the dual clutch with the Audi A4. But this generation has definitely changed all of that. On top of that, you also receive a mild hybrid system, and together you get a lot of refinement and quality for a sedan at around $50,000. Now, Mercedes-Benz has always prioritized luxury over everything else, at least with the C300. In the past, you would have had to have gone with the C43, and then obviously the C63 to get any sporty nature out of this platform and sedan. But for 2025, with the mild hybrid system, with the retuned chassis, you get a car that does feel rather responsive and dynamic. And for a car at around 50 grand, and for someone who is looking for both aspects, you're now getting that here under one roof. More importantly, for a luxury sedan, it is rather quiet in here. And usually for a car of this size and in its class, it's not going to drive like a S-Class or a BMW 7 Series. And obviously you're not going to get some of those creature comforts and refinement for the interior. But for a car at around $50,000 to feel this isolated being behind the wheel, that goes a long way. Even though you do hear that turbocharged 4-cylinder engine in sport mode, it's still relatively quiet. So let's get on the highway here. Let's see what this engine has to provide and see what the 9-speed automatic is going to give us here. I really do like the weighted feel to the steering. It gives you some sense of feedback and plenty of power to enter the highway safely. Now, for the C300, your 0 to 60 times come in at around 6 seconds, so that falls right in line with its closest rivals. Obviously, this is not going to be a barnstormer, so if you want a car that does feel very responsive and quick, you gotta go with that C43. For the C300 though, it's really the driving environment that I find rather impressive, because the technology I think is aging quite well in the middle 2020s when you are comparing it to the BMW 3 Series, Audi A4, Genesis G70, and Alfa Romeo Giulia. Even though I think a lot of buyers are going to say, but there's no physical buttons, I want more of a tactile experience, having this tablet-like touchscreen here that is very easy to use in my opinion, it somewhat feels natural. I think you're definitely going to like this more than what you're going to have in BMW and Audi right now, because you're not reaching for that screen. It's well, these seats, they provide a lot of support and bolstering for a sedan that isn't a C43 or C63. So you are going to be very comfortable in this car, and that matches up with this nicely tuned suspension. And even though I think I would prefer a sportier experience, you glide over the roadways very well, even roads that are not smoothly paved. So I think a lot of you are definitely going to like this as a daily commuter. Well, the C300 has never really been my personal favorite in this class, most because I did like the W204, and I felt that the W204 was exactly what this market needed 15 years ago. What we now have here for the 2025 C-Class is a jack of all trades and a very well-balanced sedan. Because in this market, you could point to a BMW 3 Series and say, all right, I'm getting more of a dynamic car at around $50,000. I'm not going to get full-on luxury. I think you can also look to an Audi A4 and say, all right, I'm getting more of a tech-focused driving experience. Then with the Genesis G70 and Alfa Romeo Stelvio, obviously they are prioritizing more of a sportier nature because that's what is going to draw in a lot of buyers. But with the C300 though, you have a car that gives you everything. If you're someone looking for a soft, comfortable, and quiet sedan, you had that with the C300. If you're looking for a car that is fun to drive, that is going to keep you engaged on a longer road trip, you still have that here with this sedan. And better yet, it's not lethargic, it's not slow, and I think it's giving you exactly what you want for a car in this decade. So all in all, after this quick test drive with the Mercedes Benz C300 for 2025, what you're receiving here is a very well-balanced car that gives you the best of both worlds. A lot of manufacturers are just not going to give you that, especially since Volvo dropped the S60 and Infiniti dropped the Q60. Those are two cars that are going to be luxury first and also feel like grand tours. Whereas the BMW 3 Series, Audi A4, Genesis G70, Alfa Romeo Giulia are going to be more dynamic. And the Mercedes Benz C300 is one of the last cars to give you that well-balanced nature. And if you are somebody looking for a car at around $50,000, you want a sedan that is fun to drive, but also going to feel luxurious and upscale, you're going to have that with the C300. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this quick review for the 2025 Mercedes Benz C300. If you did, please like, comment, share, and subscribe for more, and I will see you guys next time.